What's up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of Worship and Worry Friday night, where we come together, check in with each other, go deep as we reflect on God's word, and pray with and for each other. We got a little switch up this week, because Chris is on break. Chris is absolutely on break. Like he's on break. I think he disconnected his phone, he unplugged his computer, he did the whole thing. So he's on
That's
break.
good.
Yeah. So I recruited. I recruited. Cerise is like, oh, we got the wife. I recruited the wife to hang out with us for this quick check-in here on Worship and Word. We got Pam checking in with us. We got Cerise in the building, and we know the rest of the Worship and Word family will join us shortly. Or if you're watching a replay of this, go ahead and hop in the comment section and check in. I know the crazy thing, babe, about Worship and Word is that people check in like all types of day and night. I'll get alerts on my phone
Really?
that people are actually watching. So
That's great.
yeah. We got Delma checking in with us on YouTube, one of our YouTube ambassadors hanging out with us as well. And yeah, the topic, today's conversation, I mean, it's about family ties. So before we jump into the conversation for today, you already know we got to ask the question. I got to remember where all the buttons are to click. We got to ask the question of how are you feeling, or how did part of you feel this week? Yeah. So before we go to that, right? Update on the degree, where things are with you and your studies, and how that
School.
and yeah, how that's going to shape part of our conversation today.
Okay. Currently doing my master's in counseling psychology, and I am almost done.
Mhm.
I have to complete my practicum, which I'll be doing this summer, and then my internship in the fall. So I'm almost done with my journey.
So
Almost.
as we pull this on the screen, when you think about that,
Yes.
how did part of you feel this week?
Huh. I would say you should have told me this. Reminded me about this.
They lives, they can hear us.
I would say looking at the wheel. I should be so familiar with this wheel.
Yeah, I mean, this is what you do, right?
I would say I was a little bit irritated in the beginning of the week. Because my expectation was I was supposed to be doing my practicum this semester.
Right now.
Yes, but things didn't work out. So, yeah, you gotta go with the flow, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'll be doing that in the summer. But right now, I am feeling excited, I would say, about tonight. And then, not possibly, we'll be visiting my mom tomorrow in New York City. So, yeah. Hey, Miguel, I see you.
Yeah. Jumping in the chat, everybody in the comment section, let us know how part of you felt this week. This is our life update section, so we want to know what's been going on. Maybe you got some updates on some prayers that we've been praying. Life has shifted for you in some form or fashion. Babe, it's February.
I know.
and
it's short. It's a short month.
It's February. It's Black History Month.
Spring is coming.
Spring is coming. There's a lot of things going on. There's a lot of shifts and changes that people are dealing with in their lives. I would say, for me this week, it was a feeling of, there were a couple of things that I was going through. I would say pensive. I would say pensive. And that's in the peaceful category. I did a recertification for an assessment that I use with my coaching clients and with leadership teams. And just thinking through, who I am, and personality and talents and what I offer. And it just calls for some deep reflection. It caused me to be a bit pensive, this week, but also, feeling optimistic and powerful as well when I think about the benefit of taking that deep dive on yourself, the thing that we don't always like to do.
Yeah.
So
kind of like our conversation tonight.
Kind of like our conversation tonight. So we want to hear what's going on, updates, what's going on in your life. And remember, an update doesn't necessarily have to be like a testimony. It's just what is going on. Cerise says, I'm under the powerful section, feeling faithful, made some special connections with friends and God this week. Yeah, that's real good to hear, Cerise.
See Miguel's?
Yeah, you want to take Miguel's?
Yeah. Where do I see? Oh, there it is on the screen. Huh? I'm new to this. Okay. So Miguel said, I think I've traveled through that whole wheel these past couple of weeks.
Yeah, that Miguel's like Wheel of Fortune, right? Just spin that bad boy.
I think I was like that a couple of weeks back when you were sick. I was going through a bunch of different emotions.
Yeah. And that happens. And I think a lot of times for us, we don't acknowledge, and that's one of the cool things about the Worship and Word community is that we're really comfortable acknowledging how we felt, what's been going on, what we've been dealing with, and moving it out of this myth that I can't bring the full spectrum of how I feel.
Yeah. Being vulnerable.
Yeah. We got another one coming in. This person, so I had to get blocked real quick. We got Aaron. I was frustrated, overwhelmed, and anxious this week. Then the sun set and I am at peace. Yeah. That ability to unplug and be like, I'm done with this.
Yes, I love the weekend for that. Yeah.
Donna says, hello, Worship and Word family. Elaine and Donna hanging out with us. Reflective week in the loss of close family and friends. Please pray for Christian, Michelle, and others who are experiencing health challenges. And the weight of that, the weight of just the shifting and loss, and a lot of people, some people are experiencing things. We know we have people who are part of this community who might not ever jump in the comments.
Yeah.
Who might not ever say how I felt this week, or even experiencing loss, and somebody else will. And we're grateful for those of you who do share, because in many ways that provides strength and perspective for those who may not feel comfortable sharing. And we're going to continue to pray for those who experiencing loss, health challenges, a lot going on. Carlos checking in with us on Facebook this time. I'm feeling grateful for family. Feeling grateful for family. Listen,
that's
y'all.
a good thing.
Yeah, especially considering that our title for this evening is Family Ties. So that's good. Oh, I didn't even tell you what it was titled.
Tell me the title. That's why I was like, Family Ties.
I never tell Chris the title. I never tell Chris much. Sometimes I take it for granted. So shout out to Chris. Chris is unplugged. If you're wondering where Chris is, so I got my wife with us for this edition of Worship and Word. He on break.
Oh, Auntie Pam's next. I was frustrated also. I am still trying to get back to my exercising after COVID. You get that for sure. I was frustrated because I am just so tired and weak. I can't do any of my workouts. And I know that is going to set me back. Trusting God to give me back on track soon.
Yeah. Embrace that. Embrace the
time.
The time out. Embrace I don't want to be sitting down chilling.
To reconcile. Especially when you're so active. I know Auntie Pam, you're always on the go. You want to be back at your full potential. So
I was about ready to rip the paint off the walls.
He was so tired of that room. Oh my gosh.
Delma says this week was something else. Thank God for the Sabbath. Yeah, that ability just to exhale and to breathe and to pack some stuff away.
Yeah.
And then come back and get it a little bit later. Leonore said, I'm filled with joy. God has kept his promises to my friends.
Oh,
and
it's good. Always so encouraging when you hear about other people.
Yeah. The joy that comes from celebrating other people and their journey, their answers to prayer, and as their hearts are looking for things.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yo, Chris, yeah.
Cerise said Chris may be unplugged, but he's still closing them rings.
That's true. His phone's been buzzing about 5 o'clock, 5 o'clock or so. I got the notification that Chris had completed a workout. So
that's good though. He's taking that time,
Yeah.
A different area.
You need that.
Yeah.
You need that. Okay. So feel free to drop some more of your life updates, praise reports, testimonies, however you want to frame them, in the comment section. We're going to transition to our conversation for reflection as it relates to our topic for the evening. Always a controversial topic. Always. Always a challenging topic. Always pushes a button or triggers someone. And that's not the intent.
Yeah.
But I think this is one of the top 3 topics that in any space, when you start to talk about them, is tough for people, and that's the topic of family. Why do you think that is?
I mean, we all belong to families, right? And I would say every family has some type of issue. No family is perfect, of course. So I think bringing up family issues, it's so many different emotions. It's like,
look, some of y'all getting tight right now. Y'all getting real tight right now, knowing that we're gonna talk about family. So we got one from Carlise. Stressed. Listen.
School, job, cotillion, saving money, being an adult.
Welcome to it. Welcome to it, Carlise.
Yeah.
Welcome to it.
I've been seeing all the updates with my cotillion.
Yeah. We know it's gonna go well. We know this is not gonna be the last stressful point of your life. It ain't gonna be the last one. So you got this, girl. You got this. Many have come before you, and you're gonna do well. You're gonna manage this thing well. All right. Leonor said, I thought your wife was here because it's V-Day weekend. Okay, we can go with that too.
No.
We can hey, whatever it is.
I'll take it.
However it works for us. Shannon's checking in with us as well, saying, hey family. So we're gonna not do a deep dive. We're not gonna go like super hot like we get sometimes.
Yeah.
We're gonna pull back. We're gonna pull back a
more relaxed
a little bit. More relaxed, but you get a little hype.
Me?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, you get a little hype.
But you see, family is a topic I'm passionate about. You know, it's
Yeah. See, Gwen Bonner checking in with us. Even with the drama of family, I love family. So we know this conversation is going to be really rich tonight, and we invite you to go ahead and hit share. Let people know that we're talking about this family conversation, and we're going to pull out some perspectives from.
Like Auntie Gwen too. I love family. With all the
even
stuff.
With the drama, even with all the family drama.
The drama.
And if you show me a family that does not have any drama anywhere,
doesn't exist.
And we probably looking at a TV show.
Yeah. That's scripted.
That's scripted. Pam Nichols checking in with us. Val Williams checking in with us. Okay, so let's go to the text.
All right.
Let's go to the text. Let's begin this conversation on family. How do we pick the topic? Oh, I was asking you what was one of your favorite Bible stories.
Yeah. Had to be Joseph.
So, and when we have this conversation traditionally on Worship and Word, like the other person never really knows what the other person is going to talk about.
True.
So we just got to jump in. Okay. That's some of the behind the scenes secrets of Worship and Word. People think 95% of the time, I don't know what Chris is going to bring up, and he doesn't know what I'm going to bring up.
No, I've been looking at the screen.
Listen, I do that all the time. I'm looking here, the comments over here, screen cameras over here. So you're fine. They're used to it right now. Leonor says, "Are you dealing with family and family?" That could work based on what we're talking about. Feel free to bring up your perspectives on family and family. Tonight. So let's go to the text. Y'all ready? Let's go to the text. We're going to Genesis since we're talking about Joseph.
Yep.
And I'll pull on the screen for us to see. Now, this is the tough thing. I got to switch screens so I can see the other screen.
Okay.
All right. All right. Genesis 45. You want to start? You want to read? You want me to read? What you want to do?
I'll start.
Okay.
Then Joseph could no longer control himself before all his attendants, and he cried out, "Have everyone leave my presence." So there was no one with Joseph when he made himself known to his brothers. And he wept so loudly that the Egyptians heard him, and Pharaoh's household heard about it.
Joseph said to his brothers, "I am Joseph. Is my father still living?" But his brothers were not able to answer him because they were terrified at his presence.
Then Joseph said to his brothers, "Come close to me." When they had done so, he said, "I am your brother Joseph, the one you sold into Egypt. And now do not be distressed and do not be angry with yourselves for selling me here. because it was to save lives that God sent me ahead of you. For 2 years now, there's been famine in the land, and for the next 5 years, there will be no plowing and reaping. But God sent me ahead of you to preserve for you a remnant on earth and to save your lives by a great deliverance.
Okay, so we're gonna pause here. We're gonna pause here, and there's some pieces here that we gotta unpack as we're looking at this story. And before we go any deeper, I want to talk about the reality that we've romanticized
the story.
Just about every Bible story there is.
Yeah.
Like we've taken it, and I don't know if it's because of VeggieTales or Greatest Heroes from the Bible or Grace Link, Grace Note, whatever.
Grace Link.
Is it Grace Link? Grace Link? Is that the Sabbath school?
Yeah. Shout out to well.
You know, we've romanticized all of these stories. We've taken all of the humanity out of them.
That is true.
And we've made it seem like these aren't real, like real people who've gone through real things. So from the top,
yeah,
y'all tell us. I want to go. I'm gonna pull the text back up. Where did I put it? Where did I put it? From the top, I want to know. If you're Joseph, we're gonna go back in time a little bit. But if you're Joseph and the brothers show up, and I know this is after the whole exchange, the whole cup, and where's Benjamin and all of that. Yeah. When the brothers show up, what's happening? I want to know. You, Joseph, when the brothers show up, what's happening?
Somebody ending up in a pit. For me, at least. For sure. I would have been so angry. It might be,
you know, Pam says his pain was so hard, so real. People might have caught hands. Yeah. It might have been a lot of things going on. So let's jump back in the story before we get to the context here right now of Joseph in Egypt, second in command, all of that. Let's back up.
Yeah.
Let's back up. Shannon said, for real. We dealing with these heads. Meg said, I want round with each of them one at a time.
For real. I feel you, Miguel.
Yeah. Donna said, yes, it is Grace Link for the Sabbath School Quarterlies. Thanks for letting us know. Yeah, they would know. Donna would know. Donna and Elaine would know. So let's go back in the story. And I think we forget, Pastor Elliott said, yeah, I'm throwing hands too. We forget that by the time we get to Joseph, there has been a lot of stuff going on in his family.
Oh yeah.
Like we sometimes treat, especially in Genesis, like isolated incidents. So if we start with Father Abraham, first of all, I'm trying to figure out, why do we sing that song? Side note, whatever. If we start with Father Abraham, who had many sons, and many sons have Father Abraham, he has some daughters. Yeah. I am one of them, and so are you. Abraham has issues.
Yeah.
So Abraham has like, he flat out lies. He flat out lies a couple of times. He, at the suggestion of his wife, takes another woman, Hagar.
Yes.
To try to create something and create a promised child.
Yeah.
Ishmael happens. It's bad.
And he gets rid of the child.
Send
him away.
So we're at Father Abraham.
Yeah.
Father Abraham lies. He doesn't protect his wife. He sends his firstborn son away, creating some abandonment issues.
Yeah.
Like right here.
You see, the generational issues building.
So then we go to Isaac.
Yeah.
Who also has a lying problem.
Yeah.
Because he's afraid. He also has this scenario where he's not honest about who his wife is. So that deception element in there.
Yeah.
So one generation, second generation. We go to the next generation. Jacob. All right. Yeah. Jacob, who is born to a family like Jacob's mom's family.
Yeah.
Hustlers. Like they're that's what they do.
Yeah.
So he's born into a family of favoritism where his father loves him. Well, his father loves his brother. His mother loves him.
Yeah.
Favoritism, deception.
Yeah.
Then he goes to hang out with his uncle. Deception on both sides, back and forth. We got multi-generations.
Who more?
Like Laban was like, oh, you think you know some, nephew? Let me show you.
Yeah.
And Jacob was like, oh, you think you know some, uncle? Let me show you.
Yeah.
So this is what's passing down
from generation to generation. Yeah.
And I said this before. I said, isn't it interesting how we spend the money? I don't know how much it costs. Feel free to drop it in the comment section if you know. We spend the money on like 23andMe and Ancestry and whatever the other ones are out there.
Yeah.
Because we want to know where we come from. Like, is there what African nation do I come from?
Yeah.
Is there Native American, Indian in my family? You know, what's the percentage of this and that?
Yeah, I've done mine.
We want to know. We want to know, right?
Yeah.
How often are we willing? Yeah, if I was a DNA African ancestry around $50. How often are we willing to trace $99 to $200 where we really come from? And when I say where we really come from, I'm talking about, all right, what did my daddy deal with? What did my daddy's daddies deal with?
Yeah.
What did my daddy's daddy deal with?
We don't like that part.
That was all passed on.
Yeah, we don't like that part.
Why not?
Because then you get to the meat of who we are. And you see the issues that has been breed into our family DNA. And we're uncomfortable with that. It's too close to home.
And I think one of the things that Siri said we should run from that ancestry. One of the things that we do when we I think part of the reason why we romanticize the stories is because we don't want to answer those questions for ourselves. It's one thing to put Joseph in a vacuum and say, okay, Joseph was a spoiled kid who had dreams and he overstepped his boundaries by sharing his dreams with his brothers, and his daddy, you know, was not fair and he ends up in Egypt, We don't always layer on top of that the fact that generationally, it's some stuff.
I don't know, as humans, I don't know what, I guess I do know, but what do we get from trying to put on this fake facade of what our family is instead of the reality, really addressing the reality of where we come from? It's like, we all know we come from messed up families.
Yeah.
So why do we go to church, we all pretend that, you know, our family has no issues.
And I think that's one of the reasons why when we look at the genealogy of Jesus, why it's so important to identify the characters and their background.
Yeah.
And how that plays into the genealogy of Jesus. How, you know, Jesus perfect. So the infirmities and propensities, well, infirmities he had to deal with. His ability to get sick, his ability to get tired, his ability to feel overwhelmed. Jesus doesn't deal with the propensities. There's nothing in Jesus that wants to do the wrong direction, but he has to deal with the infirmities that are passed down from generation to generation. And I think in many ways, like you were saying, we don't want to wrestle with that reality. The challenge about when we think about the church context of this is that we survive by pretending our family reality is not our family reality. That's how we survive. That's why we survive.
Well, we're trained to do that.
Yeah.
As soon as we hit the parking lot.
And, you know, Pam says sometimes we do not want to know.
That's true too. So we ignore the whole situation.
Yeah. So when we look now, when we're at where Joseph is shown, the brothers have shown up to Egypt and Joseph has to figure out what he's going to do. There's a part in the story that we romanticized before, and maybe I can flip back to it. The fact where Joseph actually deceives his brothers.
Yeah.
Now, why do you think
he sets a trap for them?
Why do you think we skip past that? Like he deceived them.
But it's good. It's good, and he had a good intent about it.
Did he?
That's what we say.
Why do you think it's that we don't want to see Bible characters, even our favorite ones, wrestling with the things that we wrestle with every single day? You could make the argument based on what we framed out before that in that moment, Joseph is practicing an inherited tendency to be deceptive.
Yes.
Now,
from his uncle, from his daddy.
I know some of y'all might disagree too, but Cerise says he needed to check the motives and was used to deception also. Yeah. His flesh was rising up for real. Pam said they lucky. That's all he got. That's all they got. So that.
But even in Auntie Pam saying that we don't know the struggle he was having.
Yeah.
You should do this more to them, or the Holy Spirit telling them, nah, you don't need to go there, Joseph. So there's a struggle within him. How should I react to my family? I see my brothers who did this hurtful thing to me, separated me from my father. I have a chance now to get back at them.
And the chance to get back at him because he's number 2 in Egypt.
And it would be nothing for him to do that.
So it's interesting when you look at the narrative of Joseph. You had to block somebody else. When you look at the narrative of Joseph, he goes from number 2 in Potiphar's house to essentially number 2 in the prison underneath the jailer, who's also Potiphar. We don't have time to break that down. And then he goes to number 2 in Egypt.
You see what Cerise said? That deception was a mild reaction in that situation. I think that's what we do often, though. As Christians, the hierarchy of sin sometimes we're like, that's just a little white lie. It's not too bad.
No, he straight up lied.
Yeah, he lied and he set them up.
He lied. He set them up. He was trying to catch them slipping. And he put Simeon in jail to get his brother Benjamin there to see how they were treating him. Yeah. So he's wrestling with. I think we paint Joseph as like this Christianity. This term isn't used in the Old Testament. We're not there yet, but we paint him as this perfect.
Daniel. Yeah.
It's like from the time he got sent to Egypt, he did everything right.
Yeah.
And that might not be the case because he could have.
And you see that, I mean, in that moment, he's dealing with anger, but like we know, anger is just secondary. He was hurt.
Yeah.
So he felt he had to react in that way. It wasn't maybe the best way to react in that moment, but he was being driven by the anger.
So if we look at the text again. And put it back on the screen. If we look at the text again, there's some interesting things about it. And
I think Auntie Pam mentioned, which I thought was good too. First thing he asked for is dad.
Yeah. So Joseph said to his brothers, I am Joseph. Is my father still living? But his brothers were not able to answer him because they were terrified at his presence. Yeah. So let's talk about this full circle moment that we see here. The full circle moment. If we go back to earlier in the story where Joseph says, I had a dream, y'all.
Yeah.
And in this dream, everybody had a little bundle of wheat.
Yep.
And all y'all bundle of wheat bowed down to mine. He said, I had a dream. Sun, the moon, and all the stars worship me.
Yeah.
And earlier in the narrative, it says that everybody is upset.
Yeah.
Except for Jacob. Jacob holds the matter close to his heart. because Jacob knows what it's like to dream.
Yeah.
Can you imagine that full circle moment when they are
for all of them in that
bowing down or asking for their life or doing all these things, and he says, Zaphnath Paneah says, I'm Joseph.
Yeah, man, I probably would have done the same thing. Just kill me already. I know I deserve it.
Yeah. Yeah, Cerise says Carlise is realizing how much they try to make them seem so righteous.
Yeah.
She says in Prince of Egypt, they make it seem like Moses had to kill the man to save another man. Mm-hmm. And that's the danger of romanticizing the story and detaching it from humanity, because then we put ourselves in a place where we're kind of forcing ourselves to, man, I just gotta be.
Yeah. It's a unrealistic expectation for ourselves.
Yeah. Gwen says, as Joseph, some of us have family members who were not the best. We want, okay, there we go. We getting warm.
Have changed before we deal with them.
That
is true.
We getting warm.
Can we trust them again?
All right. So let's go back to Genesis chapter 45. And we were talking about this earlier. This positioning of Joseph. He says, let's scroll down. All right. So then it was not you who sent me here, but God. He made me father to Pharaoh, lord of his entire household and ruler of all Egypt. Now hurry back to my father and say to him, this is what your son Joseph says. God has made me lord of all Egypt. Come down to me, don't delay. You shall live in the region of Goshen and be near me. You, your children, your grandchildren, your flocks, herds, and all you have. I will provide for you there. Come live in Goshen, be near me.
Yeah.
And I will provide for you there.
That's a good lesson there.
Because 5 years of famine are still to come. Otherwise, you and your household and all who belong to you will become destitute. And I want to go back to Gwen's comment and some other comments that we had before. I see something coming in. Donna talks about the full circle moments according to the word of God. Attitude and blood loyalty remained. We need to know if they have changed boundaries. So in this, we see Joseph doesn't say, and as number 2 in Egypt, he could have plausibly framed the situation however he wanted to. Yeah. But he says, yeah, y'all can come up in here, but y'all can't come up in here.
Yeah. I'm going to keep your arms length away from me. Close, but not too close.
Like y'all can come and live in Goshen.
I like Cerise. She put boundaries.
Yeah, but y'all can't come and live where I live. Yeah. And one of the tensions, I think, when we talk about grace and forgiveness
and reconciliation
is what does that look like? What, from a realistic standpoint, does that look like? Do
we have to fully embrace and bring them into our space again?
Yeah.
Not necessarily.
And I think that's tough for us.
Yeah.
That sometimes how it's been framed for us when we talk about forgiveness, even how it's been preached, that it means you return to full access to me.
Even as a Christian, I think we feel that we have to be victims to somebody else. Like, we have to just let them walk all over us in order for us to be good Christians. And that's not true.
Yeah. Yeah. Lee says you got
love from a distance.
You got love from a distance. Cerise says I never picked that up before. So, and it's interesting that recognize what's happening. And this happens a lot in our family dynamics. Joseph says, I will take care of you there. So we see some distance. But Joseph doesn't, not only does he say, or we're framing that you can't really live where I live.
Yeah. I'm gonna take care of y'all.
You don't see him leaving where he lives.
Yeah.
And what's tough is sometimes we want to help, and we can break down what help is. we want to help, but we don't allow ourselves the maturity on the journey to actually help from a place of strength and advantage.
Yeah.
Joseph can help because he's number 2 in Egypt, because he has access to grain, because he has power and authority. He can take care of some things. How often do we get into a place where where we think the answer to helping someone is always crawling into the paradigm with them.
Yeah. And it's not always the case. Most times it's not the best approach for us, because then you get so enmeshed with the issues that we can't think clearly. So we get, bottled up in all the issues.
Yeah. Well, why do you think it's tough though? It's tough. What if Jacob says, "Yo, come live here, man"? What if his father in the story has said, "Yo, can I come live in your house, or can I come? Like, I want to live where you live. I don't want to live that far. I haven't seen you. I thought you was dead.
Yeah.
Let me live by you."
Honestly, I think Joseph had so many years. He had been through so much to process some of that stuff that took place, not just with his brothers, but with his dad. I mean, a lot of the stuff between him and his brothers was because of the dynamic with his father. He created that chaotic, that was just festering, the jealousy among his brothers. It was because of choices that his dad made, with his mom, with their mom. It's like all that is brewing all at once. And you create this unhealthy environment in the home where siblings begin to hate each other.
Yeah.
It didn't lead to a good place.
And we don't always have those honest conversations, especially when stuff is tight and there's tension in the family and in relationships. And we're only focused on this moment, and while I'm upset at you and why you're upset at me.
Yeah.
We're not following the thread that goes back a generation or two to see there's a propensity in my family to get angry, or there's a propensity in my family to be aloof and not pay attention to other people's feelings. Like, this is a generational pattern that we're wrestling with, and not just this particular moment right here.
Yeah.
When it says, in order to help, we have to have growth on our part in our relationship with the Lord. This is not in us on our own. And we see that in the paradigm of Joseph, that you could the working narrative for Joseph up to this point is that God is with him. God is with him.
That, yeah.
So in the lowest of lows, God is with him. And it'd be interesting to see, what were those prayers like? What were those conversations like with God to bring him to the point where when he sees his brothers, he doesn't kill them?
Man,
that's got to be a God with us moment.
Yeah.
Shannon says, but we learn in Black families. Yeah, come on, this Black History Month, so we're gonna work with this right here.
That right there is one of the biggest issues in our families, where we don't talk about things.
Yeah, that's probably even bigger than the issue, even bigger than abuse, even bigger than addiction, even bigger than trauma, bigger than all those things is the secrets we keep about those things. Like, it's like mold.
And I mean, it's tearing you apart inside, the secrets.
So, Val says secrets come alive. Now think about this. Think about this. His brothers go home.
Man, to come face to face with your dad and tell him, "Oh, Pop, guess who we just saw?" That must have been crazy.
And
have to tell him that.
And the question of, I thought you said he was dead.
Yeah. And the whole lie that they came up with, killing the animal, putting it on the coat.
I mean, that's elite level deception.
Yeah.
And then how much would it be for for Jacob to realize, or does he the narrative doesn't tell us,
No.
but does he realize, man,
I know where they get it from. Mm-hmm.
And I think that's hard. You know, when I look at our daughters and some of their propensities, some of the toughest things to realize is like, oh, yeah, you got that from me. Yep. That has my blueprint written all over it. And the acceptance, because sometimes we see in families, we don't accept the part that we have to play, that we've played, and how generations after us, people who come after us, navigate life. And what would that moment have been like for Joseph to know that, to know that this deception thing.
I mean, you can trace it all the way back.
I mean, does Jacob have a flashback to when he was having a conversation with Isaac?
Yeah.
And he's him
and his mama went through they planned that thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Cerise said, man, that confession had to be crazy. Yeah. And what's in the dark will come to the light. And it's difficult sometimes because in our faith communities, we have accepted a position that we can just pray it away. If I just pray hard enough, because think about what Joseph does. He disguises himself. He speaks the language of the land. He's, for all intents and purposes, Joseph is Egyptian.
Yeah,
like different name, married a girl from the land. He's Egyptian.
He is.
But in order for Joseph to progress, he has to face this thing head on. He could have sent him back. He could have sent him back to
give them a bag of food.
He could have sent him back to Canaan and was like, all right, take some food. Or he could have just locked him in prison and say, you're just going to stay here till you die. But something happens where he says, nope, I'm going to face this head on.
Yeah. And I think many times, even if, we say everything comes to the light, even if it doesn't come out into the open, I honestly believe that God works where he brings that into your consciousness, where you have to become face to face with these issues.
Yeah.
So we may not encounter as a family, all the major issues that have gone on through the years.
Yeah.
But as an individual, you're sitting by yourself. You have to face those things.
And I think that's why sometimes we don't want to sit.
Yeah.
Because we know if we sit, we're going to have to listen. I don't know about y'all. All right. I don't know about y'all, but in them quiet moments, I know we got some witnesses on here. In them quiet moments, the Holy Spirit will be like, hey, let me holler at you one time. I got some stuff I need to bring back to your remembrance that we need to work through. And I know from my experience, sometimes I'm trying to leverage the busyness of life so that I don't get caught.
Yeah.
I don't get caught in those, oh snap, God's, like Color Purple. Maybe God trying to tell you something.
Yeah. I mean, I honestly believe part of our weekend, Sabbath, we're meant to do that on a weekly basis. You went through a whole week. What are some of the things that you have to be reflective about and really see how they've impacted your life?
I love the question Gwen says, was this a grace moment for Joseph as God gives us grace?
We talked about that. That was the thing we talked, the main lesson we got from Joseph, man, extending that grace.
Yeah.
That's it.
And determining as God gives us grace, right? Determining what the the sharing of that grace looks like.
Yeah.
Because it cannot look the same.
No.
Because our family dynamics are so different. For some of us, y'all can't come live near me.
Mm-hmm.
Like that
you can't get full access the way you had it before.
Some of us can't live the Joseph. His narrative is descriptive. Mm-hmm. It's sharing with us what happened and how God works through the story. It's not always, hey, this is the way you need to do it. Yeah. Because for some of our family situations, we know that ain't.
We need to stay far away.
What's that emoji? Nah, don't.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. Shannon says, yeah, we do lessons learned at work on projects. We should adapt that process in our lives. Leonore said earlier, this hit me. Mm-hmm. One of my rules is not to punish my kids for things they got from me.
Wow.
Woo!
Wow. I never thought about that either. That's good.
Instead, through parenting them, we both learn how to manage it. Wow.
That's amazing. Because in a sense, you see again, maybe even for a second time, the grace that God bestowed upon you when you were exhibiting that behavior.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, man, thank the Lord. He saved me from that.
One of my favorite, one of my favorite quotes by an old preacher. Mm-hmm. He said, one of the greatest gifts that God gives you is that he allows you to keep breathing while you're sinning.
Yeah. And that's why I like that Jesus uses parables to teach. Yeah. You know, you can find yourself in that story and not feel totally exposed and learn the lesson.
Yeah, when we think about the list of stuff that we wrote down, did we get all of our points?
I think we did.
Did we miss all of them? We'd love to hear, as we're about to transition to the prayer reflection, if there's some other pieces of this story that kind of hook you, or even questions that you have.
I think we did.
And looking at that grace piece, one of the things, and that Gwen was saying before, I think is very important for us, that it is only through that growth in our relationship with God, and I would add to that, growth in the areas that the relationship with God leads us to. Mm-hmm. Can we be in a position to extend grace and trust God more? A lot of times we want to operate from that deficit, from that deficiency. Mm-hmm. Like, I want to help you. Let me help you.
Mm-hmm. And I think too, many times we're blinded by our own issues. So oftentimes the outlook is, those are the messed up family members.
Yeah.
And we don't see within ourselves the issues.
Yeah.
But we ourselves have issues as well. And we would want that grace extended to us. So, yeah. I'm not saying, totally expose yourself like we were talking, but realizing what's the best position to be in to help our family.
How do we wrestle with, Pam says learn the lesson, Val says character changing growth. One of the toughest things about reading the story of Joseph for me, I mentioned it before. How do we reconcile, I don't know if that's even the right word, the fact that God is with him as these things are happening? Like that's one of the major themes of the life of Joseph. And God was with him. So wait, you with me in the middle of this messed up family dynamic?
I was the chosen one, and I went through all this stuff.
Yeah. How and we ask that question sometimes. Like, I've been praying, I've been crying, I've been reaching out to God.
Yeah.
And, I know God talks to me. Why do we have to deal with this in our family? Yeah. If God is with us? And I think again, that comes back to romanticizing the story. The the nearness of God to us does not automatically position us to escape some of the difficulties of life. And I think that's hard as a person of faith to deal with.
I think also too, it makes me think of God was with Joseph. God was with his brothers and his father.
Oh, run it back. See, we turning it in.
To complete that thing, man. He knew not only it was a lesson that Joseph had to complete and see through.
Yeah.
But years later for us that we needed to learn from that too. So it's like many times we think, oh, God only sees the good one because we label Joseph as the good one. And he forgets about those unruly brothers. And no, but I mean, Jacob could have died.
Yeah, Jason says, Dr. Jason says, we did it. We did it in our family because God deals with it in his. He is above all the sovereign sufferer. And the idea of like that same question, you know, and you look at the narrative of Jesus, like, I got to go through all of this for this family.
Yeah. A family that that think I'm crazy.
They don't
play me.
They don't want me. Yeah. They're going to reject me.
Yep.
And we see the moments to extend grace, especially when it's so hard, especially when you have the power to destroy.
Yeah.
Joseph could have killed them brothers. He had the power to destroy them. That point that you said, I just want to come back to it for a little bit. The fact that not only is the life of Joseph preserved, the life of his brothers and father are preserved to experience this full circle moment. And I think we don't always value the clarity that comes when people get older.
Yeah.
Or when people have like challenging moments in life, and that sense of clarity and the shift in perspective that people have.
I mean, how else do we grow? You have to go through something, right?
Yeah.
God knew. He knew.
No. Rose says our journey and struggles are not always meant for an immediate moment of growth, but may be meant to prepare for future crisis.
That's good.
Yeah. Joseph was a braggart before the change. All of them. All of them had to change out. That's such a key point.
Yeah.
We talk about the change. We need to check the temperature of his brothers to see if their head and their heart were in the right place. But clearly the something in Joseph has to change too.
Yeah.
A paradigm in Joseph has to change.
I mean, we've all been in families where there's a favorite, I'm sure. Or even in the classroom, there's a favorite student. So
or at work.
So that uncomfortability you feel, I'm sure it was crazy for the brothers to handle that over the years, over and over.
Yeah.
He got the coat that was meant for his older brother. It should have been for his older brother. It's a lot to deal with.
You know, this space of, you know, not inviting God in and to give us what we need. I think it's tough because when we go through difficult moments and difficult family moments, a lot of times we want like an instant reprieve. Like, I just want this thing to be over. Like Rose was saying, sometimes what you're struggling with right now is it's to set you up, prepare you for a future crisis. And we don't always acknowledge or accept the fact, or it's tough for us because if God is with me, I don't want strength to get through it so that I can extend grace to other people.
No.
God is with me.
Yeah.
I want it to go away.
Yeah.
Just like snap your fingers, rub your hands together, say something, and make it go away. And most of the time, God doesn't do that.
No, we got to go through the difficult parts. That's how you grow.
I mean, can you imagine Joseph saying, God, just let me go home?
Yeah.
He doesn't go home.
He doesn't ever go home.
His bones don't get back to Canaan until he dies.
Yeah. Man.
Woo.
Woo. Realistic expectation.
Yeah. God is with us too. In the middle of. And that's not just a cool thing to say. It's the reality. You know? It's tough to realize that the injustices we suffer through have no initial redemptive or growth purposes for them. They are the consequences of other people's issues. We were talking about this earlier.
Yeah.
But God uses them. And I think we can go back to Joseph's statement toward his brothers, the statement of a transformed person.
Yeah.
This is a transformed person that's having this conversation. Because of all the issues in the family, this is what happened. And but God is about to turn this whole situation around.
Man, that's amazing.
Our good, his glory. It's tough in the middle. It doesn't feel good in the middle. We don't like it in the middle.
And many times in the middle, you want the answers.
We want the answer in the middle.
You want the answers. And most times you don't get it.
And also, the truth is, our suffering journey might not get us to number 2 in Egypt. I'm suffering, and on the other end of it, I'm gonna be CEO. On the end of it, I'm gonna be superintendent of the school system. On the end of it, you might not get number 2. You might just get the reminder and the peace that comes from God is with me. And one day, even if it doesn't happen when I'm alive, and one day I'm going to have a promised land experience.
Yeah.
That's what happened to Joseph. That's such a cool part of when they're leaving Egypt. And it was like they couldn't leave until they got the body of Joseph. Well, the bones of Joseph. Well, probably body. They're Egyptians, so the body of Joseph.
Yeah.
And took it back home. So, yeah, good thoughts tonight, babe. You got any other things you want to share? We're gonna pray.
Anything else I want to share?
Yeah, any perspectives or reflections?
I guess it's to be hopeful, like you were just saying. It's that you may not see the resolve now. You know, many times, especially with our family, we want things to work out the ideal way.
Yeah.
I want a great mother. I want a great father. And oftentimes we don't get to that.
Yeah.
But through the process, we learn to become better people and make an impact on somebody else. So don't lose heart if things don't turn out the way we want it to right now.
Yeah. And part of that is the message of the gospel. Like
Mm-hmm.
the message of Jesus has right now implications.
Mm-hmm.
Right now life changing implications. And that's not the end of it.
Yeah.
So it may not work out completely in the
Mm-hmm.
way that you want it to
Yeah.
in the here and now.
Yeah. I like that. You know,
Yeah. Changing the legacy is enough.
that's good. Yeah.
Changing the legacy is enough. Woo! All right, y'all. We put some work in tonight in terms of just our conversation and our reflection. And we love to pray tonight and just invite you, drop a prayer request in.
Mm-hmm.
And as people are dropping prayer requests in, we're going to ask other members of our worship and word community to just at that moment respond to that prayer request and pray for that person and begin to minister to each other as well. Lee jumps in and says his mom sends love and praise. You are well. She's celebrating my dad's birthday and couldn't join in tonight on Worship and Word.
Happy birthday to your dad.
Happy birthday. Birthdays are always a great thing. They're always a cool thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good to see you too as well, Lee. Yeah.
It was good chatting with you and Worship and Word family.
Yeah. This is kind of what we do. This is kind of how we do. I know. So give you some other secrets of Worship and Word, right? Sometimes when we have our conversations, it's a little heavy. So, people are reflecting or jotting down notes or having conversations.
Yeah.
And it's the energy shifts to really reflective. So we just know to provide space for. If we don't have, some nights, we've been up like 2-3 hours because we've had just a flood of prayer requests coming in.
Yeah.
There are some times when we have certain topics, certain discussions, certain Bible reflections that it's just heavy.
Yeah.
And we're just like, we need to just kind of sit in it and think through and process and pray. So, that doesn't always lend itself to a flood of comments afterwards.
Yeah.
And the community that we have is just so cool
that that's good though. You want people to take the discussion and really reflect on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it hits all of us. Josephine, happy Sabbath. Happy Sabbath to you as well. All right, so we're going to pray. We're going to pull up some of these. As well. All right, we're going to pull up some of these. We're going to pray. And yeah, we're going to be done. All right. Let's pray. Father, we're grateful for just the chance to hang out in this way and just to reflect. God, this family thing is deep.
Yeah.
Oh, God, it's so deep. And we all struggle with it in different ways. Remind us of the need to extend grace as time will come. Maybe it has happened already, that from our family dynamic will need grace extended to us. We thank you for giving it freely and for putting up with all of us members of your family and for walking with us. So as we travel to New York tomorrow, we're asking for traveling mercies. And for all of those who just are traveling to see family and friends this weekend, those who are headed to church, those who are headed on vacation, wherever people are headed, God, we apologize for the times where we just take travel for granted. And we thank you for continuing to walk with us and guide us. We're asking for grace with this healthy boundaries thing, God. It's a lot. And sometimes we don't know how to draw these lines, but we thank you that you do. And we ask that you continue to give Cerise strength and discernment as she She draws boundaries. We're asking God for Shannon that you provide for her continued healing and strength for her journey. Only you know intimately all the inner workings of her body and her mind. Only you know what's really going on with all of us. And God, we have doctors and people who attend to us, but don't nobody know like you. And we're asking you to do what only you can for Shannon and for others who are looking for healing and strength. Yes. For Gwen, the weight, the toughness of losing a spouse. Yes. Toughness that some in our worshiping word community resonate with and feel and understand. And as we have these celebrations and holidays and people are buying cards and stuff, God, yeah, there's some of us in our family that are just like, nah, I don't get my loved one. I don't get my spouse. We'll give them peace. And for Val, God, the praise and the request into one. We're celebrating you, God, because it's 300,000 miles strong. And also asking for new, reliable transportation. We know you're a God of both. A God of keeping what we have going and a God of providing something new. And we thank you for this community, for continuing to allow us to gather and to worship and to connect. And continue to bless Chris as well. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
I mean, you want to say it?
Go pray. Is that what you say?
That's what you're supposed to. That's what you're supposed to.
Go pray some more.
Go pray some more,
yeah.
Especially for our families.
Yes.